You look gorgeous today with your lipstick.
Thank you.
You ready to go play outside? Yeah. Are you ready to go play outside?
Oh!
Oh! Wait, hold on. Mama has to get some seeds.
I want a banana.
You want a banana?
I found a seed, one seed.
Yeah? Do you think those are winter seeds?
Yeah, but we need lots of lots.
Let's try. Let's look.
I want beans.
What's that one?
How about beans?
Beans are for spring and summer, baby. We're looking for winter ones. Okay, that's it. Don't go in my house. No, don't go in my house.
Oh, Mama says. Shoot. They go away.
Come on.
But how about my shoes?
I'll put your shoes on. Come on. Hey, how about come over here? What you doing? Eating chips. Hi, welcome back to Homestead to Health. My name is Caitlin, and today I'll be talking to you about my weight loss, and also we'll be planting some seeds in the shade box where I had built a cold frame earlier this week. At the end of December, the beginning of January, I weighed myself and I was at 239, which was my absolute heaviest that I've been while not pregnant. And I gave myself the goal to get down to 229 by February 1st. Today's February 1st. I don't know when this video will come out. It'll probably be February 2nd. But still, I weighed myself yesterday and I hit my goal. I'm at 229. So I've officially lost 10 smooth pounds. I was 231 this morning, but that's just a 2-pound fluctuation. I do have some like hormonal breakouts, Exhibit A and Exhibit B, so I'm not going to punish myself for that. You know, a couple pounds fluctuations I'm okay with, but I did hit my goal of 229, and I'm going to kind of talk about how I ended up doing that. So for those who are new to my channel, or maybe are unclear on why I've created my channel is called Homestead to Health because it's literally what I'm doing. I'm using homesteading and homesteading practices to better my health. I have really bad inflammation at times. I have problems now because of my weight. I'm pre-diabetic, and I'm just uncomfortable, honestly. And so whenever I begin to talk about how I lost these 10 pounds this past month, I want to just put it out there. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor, I'm nothing like that. I'm just somebody who is finally finding something that's working for them, and I'm going to tell the internet about it. So, first things first, I'm the realist. Second thing though is whenever I set out to lose weight, I wanted something that was sustainable to me. I already very deeply wanted to homestead and be a homesteader, and it was just committing to that lifestyle. And the best way that I found to do that is to eat as if I was already picking my food, or if I was harvesting my animals, something that was sustainable in that way. So I eat meats, I eat lots of veggies, and I eat whole food. So like organic brown rice and oats and things like that. I do allow that in my diet as long as it's within my caloric intake, which was the next step for me to lose weight, was to count calories. Very long story short, my portion sizes were just way too big, and even whenever I thought I was doing better, they were just still too large. And so it took lowering my caloric intake, but also coupling it with eating really good food. In the past, whenever I try to count my calories, I never stuck with it because I didn't want plates this big of something I wanted to eat. I got a healthy girl appetite. I want a big honking plate. And so now whenever I make a plate, instead of it being a slab of meat and like a couple of veggies here and there, now it's a slab of veggies with like a little bit of meat and then like a starch. And so my veggies are the center roll of my plate. You want to sit with me?
Ooh. I want to sit with you too.
Okay.
I'm tired.
You're taller. You can come sit right here. Okay. So, get comfortable. I had moved over here by my back steps so that I could watch the kids play on the play set, but I think it just made me more accessible. So, is this a group chat now? No. Alright, so kind of to sum up, I'm calorie counting. I have evaluated how I portion the food groups on my plate, being mostly veggies, some meat, some starches. And the third thing that I've done is I've really decided to eat clean, whole foods and as much organic food as possible, because like I said, I want something, I want a diet that could be sustainable for like the rest of ever. So I don't want necessarily a diet change, but I want it to adhere to the lifestyle that I've tried to commit to already, which is homesteading. Homesteading, what did I say? Homesteading. But don't kick chickens, that's not nice. So after years of attempting to do diets and telling people like, oh, I'm gonna change this, this, and this about myself, and that'll help me, and I'm gonna cut out all pasta and like all this other stuff, I would set these goals for myself, and they're, now looking back, they're realistic goals, but at the time I said it half-heartedly. I didn't say it with any true conviction. I didn't believe in myself is what it sums up to. But now, if you had asked or told me 2 years ago that I was going to be waking up every single morning and going outside to take care of almost 30 animals, I'd have been like, yeah, right, okay. But now it's come to pass, and I do it every morning with a happy heart. And so I try to take the same ideas of longevity into what I was eating. I wanted something that I could commit to and something that just made sense for me and my family. Everybody knows that veggies are good for you, and everybody knows that whole foods are good for you. You know, my family doesn't have any food sensitivities. The only issue that we have with food is that we emotionally eat, whether it's happy, sad, mad, glad, or bored. We just eat based on emotion and off of what my husband and I are saying, brain hungry. Your whole life you're trained to eat on a clock. You know, morning is breakfast time, midday is lunch, and evening is dinner, maybe with some snacks in between. But my husband and I had been observing our children, and we noticed that some days we called them their hungry days. They would eat so much in those days, and then other days they would barely eat anything at all. And so we thought about that, and we were talking about it, and we're like, man, I wonder if that's not how we're supposed to eat, because our kids, they don't know social things yet. We have to teach them sit down in morning breakfast or morning lunch and dinner. And so my husband and I were asking ourselves like tough questions. Am I eating out of instinct, or am I eating because I've been told it's time to eat? So after studying our kids and realizing that a lot of our eating was social eating or emotional eating, we have completely reevaluated the way that we eat. And so now, if I'm not hungry right in the morning, because I don't eat right in the morning. If I'm not hungry around lunch, the same thing. In fact, I tend to get hungriest at night. And so that's a big indicator to me that I'm kind of wasting my calories early in the morning, and I have a cutie behind the camera. So that's it. That's really all that I changed in order to lose 10 pounds this month. And moving forward, that's probably going to be something that sticks with me. And I hope it's something that my kids take on, the way that I eat, the way that I'm teaching them to eat, that I hope that it sticks with my family for a long time. And again, just to kind of sum it up and put it in a nice, perfect little ball for you, I've lost 10 pounds in 1 month by eating bigger portions of veggies and smaller portions of meat and starchy vegetables. I've started doing intuitive eating instead of timed eating. Intuitive eating can sometimes kind of correlate along with fasting.
You have to play.
I have to play?
Yeah.
I'll play in just a second, okay?
Hold your finger.
You hold my finger? Okay, I'm coming to play. Okay, so playtime is over and the girls pretty seamlessly transitioned to playing on their kitty phone and watching Scooby-Doo. So I've got time to go a little bit more into depth over seeds. But before I do, I wanted to make one last comment about my weight loss and the approach that I'm taking. Something that I noticed about myself through journaling, which is another big contributor to my very recent success. But through journaling, I realized that I tend to want me time so much, and I'm always in such a search for me time, that it really aids to this like sense of urgency that I always have. Like, I need to go ahead and do this thing with the girls, or I need to go ahead and make lunch so I can go ahead and just be by myself for a little bit. I just need more time by myself. Time by myself usually looked like snacks and watching TV. And so I had to stop giving into that mentality. Every time, every minute of my day is spent with myself. And so I had to really look at my priorities and kind of examine what some things meant to myself. And one of those things that I came to a conclusion on was being active with my girls, whether it's in play or sharing a meal together or anything like that. That's very important to your health, especially your physical health, because like I was commenting on earlier, social and habitual practices really play a huge role in your diet. And I wanted those habits to take on a different form, to look very different in my life. And how that looks different for me now is, whereas we used to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner in front of the TV, now we're sitting around the table, there's no phones, there's no distractions, we're being very mindful whenever we eat, and I'm spending that time with my girls. Instead of thinking that spending time on myself was sitting in front of the TV with snacks, now spending time with myself is smiling and thinking like, how cool are my kids that I get to hang out with. And I still have to make time for myself, but now it's healthy ways like journaling instead of snacking mindlessly. So I want to encourage you to take kind of a objective look at what your habits are around eating and around spending. What?
My friend share with me.
Go tell her I said to share.
Okay.
Okay. So I really want to encourage you to take a look at your own habits whenever it comes to your activity level or your eating habits, and assess if you could do something better, if you could do something that was more mindful and more enjoyable in the long run. So without further ado, I'm going to get to my seeds. I created this cold frame a couple of days ago, and I didn't get to plant anything right away. And then unfortunately there were several days of just rain followed by last night's frost. However, I just took off the plastic at the beginning of this video, and I was able to see that not a drop of frost was on here. In fact, not even moisture, which has its ups and downs. That means I'm going to have to for sure water all of this by hand, but that's actually a great thing for me because that means I can control the moisture instead of it getting bogged down with all this rain. So there are three main types of plants that I'm planting today. Some are very rooty vegetables like radishes, carrots, there's beets, and I have got something called salsify. So these things clearly, they're roots, they go into the ground, but these are very cold tolerant vegetables, and also I like them because I can plant them in between other vegetables that grow on top, because the roots go down, that's where they take up most of their space, and then the other plants that don't have the deep tap root of like a carrot, their roots stay pretty shallow and the plant itself is on top. So I can fit way more vegetables in this little box by doing companion planting like that, which I like to call size companion. The other type of plant that I'm going to be planting are leafy greens. And so I have like my kales, my collards, I've got some bok choy here, some red leaf sorrel, and some lettuce. I have a small planter in the front of the yard that I might use some of my extra plastic with to plant my little greens and some salad mix. But the reason that I'm planting these is because they are also very cold tolerant. Kales and cabbages and what else do I have here? Brussels sprouts and broccoli. These are all called brassicas. That's the group that they all belong in. And brassicas do very well in colder areas and colder climates and stuff. I don't think I'm going to have a problem growing these bad boys out. I'm also going to be growing a few herbs like cilantro. So especially here in Texas, and I'm sure everywhere else in the world, we use a lot of cilantro, and for whatever reason, I guess just logically in my brain, it made sense that it was a summer herb. But cilantro actually grows best in colder areas or colder temperatures as well. In fact, whenever it gets a little warm, it bolts pretty easy. I'm also going to be growing some of this Chinese chives. I've got a lot of herbs that I could start now, but I'm going to stick to what I think will do best. I also just want to point out how beautiful this Swiss chard is, and I'm hoping to get some off of this plant out of the shade box. I really like these bitter greens, things like kale and chards and things like that, collards. I like to cook it with a little bit of salt, pepper, lemon juice, and bacon fat. It comes out so good. I was actually on the phone. I had to move you a little closer to me. The sun was starting to come over the tree line and I was getting blinded. I was actually on the phone with my dad last night and we were talking about my channel, and I was telling him how I was so excited for spring and summer to come up so that I could finally start bringing harvest back into the house, whether it's harvesting fruits and vegetables or animals or eggs. I got my chickens whenever they were a day old, and I'm a first-time chicken keeper. They don't start laying until this March, but for whatever reason in my head, I thought they started laying way sooner, like a month or two old or so. I don't know why. It's so funny what you don't know until you know it. A lot of assumptions and stuff are made. So homesteading has definitely in some way, and actually a lot of ways, pulled back the curtain on food and kind of started disturbing some of these mysteries surrounding food and for my family. And it's so funny too, because I was actually raised around farm animals, and you know, my pawpaws were farming and stuff, and I thought I knew what I needed to know, but I was in for really big shocks. So going back to what I was saying though, I was on the phone with my dad wanting harvest to come back in, and he was encouraging me to make videos in the future about what I do with these harvests, how I prepare them, how I cook them. And I think that's an awesome idea, so I can't wait for that. I'm hoping some of the first harvests that I'm able to show on my channel, harvest recipes and stuff, will be from here, from my shade box. I'm gonna go ahead and start planting. I'm sure my girls are gonna run out of patience here soon for vlogging today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that I've encouraged you to lose a bit of weight or eat better, or reevaluate some of your eating habits and the social constructs surrounding them. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'll see y'all later.